Today I'm going to be teaching the duplicate stitch. It's also known as the overstitch. And you can use this stitch to create a plaid design to your work. If you've done stripes across this direction, you can actually, which is what I'm going to be doing, drawing or creating lines going up this direction to create a plaid. But you could also on a solid surface or a solid color, you could put an initial, you could do a design like a flower or whatever. And the way you would do this is use a graph sheet with the little squares, and you would draw your design in those little squares. Each square would represent a stitch, and you would know to move your yarn up through those stitches to create that design. Similar to doing a cross stitch or a needle point, using the pattern the same way. So let's do something very simple today. We are going to be creating plaid. You're going to be working on the right side of your work and using a crochet hook. I'm also going to demonstrate using a needle, a regular upholstery needle or embroidery or darning needle. But this first method I'm going to show using a crochet hook. So you're going to be working through the right side of your work, but you're going to be holding your yarn that's contrasting on the wrong side. So I'm not even going to put a loop in it. I'm going to go through the right side on the first stitch, grab a loop from the underside, and pull it up. Then I'm going to take my hook out, go in through the front of it, go into the next stitch up, grab my yarn again, just one of just your longest strand, bring it up through, and bring it up through the previous loop. I now have a chain of 2. I'm going to take my hook out, put it in through the front again, go down through the next stitch. You can see right here. On the underside, I am once again grabbing my working yarn. I'm going to bring it up through the right side, up through the loop, and there's the third chain. So I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to down through the next stitch, grab my working yarn, pull it back up, go through my loop, and you might get to points where you feel like you're a little twisted, where you just need to take your hook out and get it realigned again, because it will tend to twist a little bit on you. So let's do this one more time, and then I'll show you how to do it with a needle. You're going to go down through the front, grab your working yarn, bring it up, bring it through the loop, and you're ready to go to the next. So that is how to do the duplicate stitch or overstitch. Now let's do it with a needle. Now when you do this with a darning needle or embroidery needle, you want something that has a large enough eye for your yarn to fit through. And you want to make sure that your yarn is long enough, because you are going to be knitting with 2 strands of the yarn at the same time. So you want to make sure it is long enough, and you can just tie off the end of it. So I'm going to loosely tie this here. Okay, so now I'm working with 2 strands of yarn all the way to the end. I'm going to start on the underside and come up through the right side. So here it is coming up. You want to make sure you don't catch any loose, stray little strands of yarn on your way. You're going to come up through it. Then you're going to go to your next stitch, and you're going to go down so that you've kind of scooped up that stitch, And now you're going to go in between these two threads, in between those two yarns, and pull it. We'll do it again. You're going to go down and up and through the two yarns and pull it. You're creating the same thing as a chain stitch. And here's what it looks like. You're doing the same thing as you were with the crochet hook, but you want to make sure you don't pull too tightly or it's going to look a little funny. My preferred method is the crochet hook, but you can do it both ways. So here's this stitch, and I'll show it to you a couple more times. You go down through the next stitch and lift it up. So you've lifted that stitch onto your needle. And then go through the two yarns. Now you do want to make sure that these two yarns do not get twisted in the meantime. You want to make sure that they stay in the right order. Otherwise you're going to have a twist in your pattern as you're making it. So there it is, stitched with the needle. So those are the two methods for doing the duplicate stitch or overstitch.